Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike. It is Thursday, the 27th of July. This is your daily recap. Very interesting day here in the market, and let's just jump right into it on the indexes and we'll get into names. So, we came in this morning and we had a big gap up and talked about being careful into this big gap up, and it was really high and we were up a lot and the market was moving. And you can see here, one on the SPY, we never took out the opening 5-minute candle, right? So that was your first sign that everything wasn't great. We did go sideways, though, for about a half an hour before we came down a little bit. Then we got some real selling pressure that came into the market just after 1 o'clock when we had news that really normally doesn't affect the markets, but you had a U.S. Treasury auction didn't go well. And at the same time, the Bank of Japan working so they can raise interest rates above 0.05%. And you saw the market use this as an excuse to sell, and volume came in. So, there was volume in the second half of the day, much more than the first half of the day. You can see very elevated volume down here. And here we are on the lows on the SPY, and we just breached below the 8-day. And this is the first time we've been here on the 8-day since the 11th of July. All right, so, what do I think here? We need a pullback. We're overdue for a healthy 3 to 5% pullback in the market. We'll talk more about the Qs in a minute. Right now, your next support, you can look at it here and say the top of this area, right around this 450, 180 area, 452. Underneath that, you would take it down here a little bit to the bottom of this here at 449. Here's your 50-day, 21-day coming up there. And then under that, you would go to the gap here. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see how this trades. What you need to be aware of, we have 20 minutes to go, is this is a reversal candle today. It is ugly. It's engulfing the previous 3 days, not quite 4 days of action here right now, but very close, and 5, right? 6. So, very close to engulfing the previous last 6 days of action. It's one of the biggest candles we've seen in this market in a very, very long time on the SPY. We haven't seen a down candle like this in a long time, that's for sure. And it is a wake up and pay attention. The oscillators dropped in -14 and -57 respectively. They're still neutral. So be aware. The Qs tried to hold in a little stronger. The Qs did take out the opening 5-minute candles and ran for 20 minutes or so before they came in. The strength of this market was in the Qs earlier today. That said, the Qs never took out the recent highs. We're still here and having achieved a 3% pullback. We've had this now for a week, and here we are sitting on it again. Okay, ugly candle here, not quite as ugly as the SPY, 21-day just below here, and your 5% pullback right here at 368.58. What else has been going on today? The financials, which had run like mad after earnings, you have a nasty little candle here. You have a nasty candle on energy. So let's go into what else we saw today. First of all, Apple. Apple gapped up, held in nicely, and pushed. I'm out of my calls on Apple, made a little bit of money on them, not much, but better than taking a black eye. Back to the 8-day. Still holding in well. We have earnings there next week. My Meta. I broke one of my golden rules, and I did this yesterday with Google, and it worked great. And today I took a little loss and gave some money back on it. I usually say wait and take out the opening 5-minute candle. Well, Meta never really did that. It got up to the opening 5-minute candle, but it never took it out. I bought calls down here into this mess, and I held them for a little bit too long and took a loss. Now, I got out in plenty of time. I didn't take the big loss, but I was assuming that this would do what Google did, and that was just bad on my part. Meta here got an ugly little candle, not acting as well. Then again, it's run a ton, and it's giving a lot of that big gap up from last night back here. So if it wants to, it can come all the way down here to the 302 area and fill this gap and reconnect with the 8-day. Google gave a nice trade earlier this morning, popped above the high, ran all the way up to 133.24 before reversing and coming back down. What else today gave some strength? NVIDIA and the semis were strong. NVIDIA gave a nice push here up into 472 plus, 473 plus. AMD gave a nice push up here to the 50-day where it got rejected. The SMH has put a new all-time high in. LRCX was raging today. Micron had a big day in there, so the semis had a lot of strength. Amazon, which doesn't report now to next week, which had been looking great here. You got an ugly reversal that's taking place here. Microsoft broke below the earnings low here and taking that out. Again, you got to watch now. It's below the 50-day. So now the big spot becomes going to hold here around this 326 area. If not, then we'll start looking down here towards some of these levels where this gap is at 319.90. Again, not a good report there. Tesla also taking out into the earnings lows here that here at this point since the earnings into the lows, still holding in. Gap out down here at 342.30 is the next place to watch there, and the 50 days there as well. That said, it wasn't all bad out there. We talked about some names that were good. McDonald's had a good report, held in well. IBM was a very strong move today, nice gap and go. So it wasn't all bad out there. Walmart couldn't quite break to all-time highs, but close. Costco held in. So, still very mixed market. The market's still holding in fine. Okay, we were overdue for this again. If I'm looking at the SPY, we could use a 3% pullback, 3% here, we're talking like 30, like $40 off the highs. So from 459 down to what, 440 area, 445 area in that range. So, that would not be a bad place. Hold around the gap. That was just a quick looking at things, right? So that would be an area to watch. And there would be nothing wrong or unhealthy about that. We have earnings tonight. So we have earnings coming up. I'm staying late with you guys tonight. I know this is a lot today, and usually these are not this long, but today there was a good reason to have a longer one, right? So tonight after the close, we got Enphase and Ford, Intel, Roku, First Solar, US Steel. I think Skechers is in there as well. I forgot about that one. So that said, we also have PCE tomorrow. That's a Fed favorite. That's at 8:30. That's an inflationary number. I'll probably open the room early for that. I'll catch you guys live in the morning. Staying late tonight. Everybody have a great evening.